I'm gonna give it a little squeeze here, and everything's gonna go flying. It's fast, and you just want that a moment of relief and then pull again, and you don't get that at all. You know, I think it's fair. The numbers on the car are fair. You do pay the Porsche tax a little bit, and that's what you do if you want to own a Porsche. They have no competition.
It's all Porsche. It feels like a Porsche, but it's completely different than any other Porsche on the market. Very exciting car, very exciting time. Definitely a game changer. And I feel like people compare it to the wrong cars all the time. And I'm gonna try to explain to you why. I'd like to show you the 2020 Taycan Turbo. Check it out. Ever since the Mission E concept was released by Porsche, there was a lot of speculation. What will it be? Will it be a Tesla Model S competitor? Will it be faster? Will it be slower? Will it go a longer range? A lot of conversation. Now, the only thing, in my opinion, that this car and the Tesla have in common is two things. They're both fully electric, and they're both sedans. Outside of that, these cars do not belong in the same universe. Now, I'm a huge fan of Tesla. I love the brand. I love the man behind the brand. I think he's a solid person. And the reason I believe we have this car today available to the public is because of madman Elon Musk. Now, this vehicle gets compared to Tesla all the time, rightfully so, because Tesla doesn't have a pure competitor, a full-on electric car company that is actually producing, shipping cars, multiple models, keeping up with production, taking orders, delivering vehicles, providing the support. Does that mean it should be compared to a Tesla? Absolutely not. These are two very different cars. Everything from the exterior design, the performance, the handling, the interior, and how well it's put together, what direction they're going in and who they're trying to cater to, there is a massive difference here. Tesla doesn't have the heritage, the racing history, the road cars, the gas cars that we love, we've all enjoyed for generations, and now is getting into the electric car business. No, Tesla's going straight to the electric car business. Aside from that, Porsche is a giant under the Volkswagen Auto Group. They share technologies between Volkswagen, Bentley, Bugatti, Lamborghini, whereas Tesla is Tesla. So no, it's not fair to compare this to a Tesla. And no, I don't believe Tesla could give you the same bang for your buck as Porsche can.
So we're in a Taycan Turbo today. Really fast car, full electric car. This thing's not really a Tesla competitor in my opinion because it drives like a Porsche, it handles like a Porsche, it just happens to be all electric. And although they gave it the turbo name, obviously it's an electric car and there is no turbo associated with the car. But turbo has always been associated with Porsche as their top-end models, as the high-end versions of their cars, and they kind of carried it over. So interesting concept, but it tells people what it is. You know, they have a turbo and a Turbo S, and it really lets people know that this is the fast one. It's the top of the food chain, especially the Turbo S. And keep in mind, guys, Porsche is not new to hybrid or electric technology because one of the best cars they've ever made, the 918 Spider, was their first venture into using hybrid and battery and electrical technology in a all-out performance hypercar. Anybody that test drives a Taycan Turbo or Turbo S is blown away by, first off, how it pulls, how it keeps pulling, where other electric cars start running out of breath. So we're completely open right now, so I'm gonna give it a little squeeze here, and everything's gonna go flying. So it's ridiculous, it's ridiculous. And if you don't know, hold on, I gotta fish my phone out using the charging cable. If you don't know what to expect when you gun this thing, it really does catch you off guard. And if your passengers don't know you're about to do it, it does freak them out.
One thing you guys will notice about the Taycan Turbo is it's not like this odd, weird-shaped electric car. It's almost a Panamera. until you start really going into the details. There's certain things you're gonna notice there's no exhaust, and because there's no exhaust, they've given it the diffuser area a specific design that's very interesting. And once you get a little bit closer to the car, you notice this isn't your typical car, but some things Porsche did really well. For example, it takes this type of wheel design for you to make an aerodynamic wheel. When you're driving an exotic car, let's say, your goal isn't to save mile per gallon. Your goal is to squeeze every bit out of it. The type of tires that are on exotic cars and sports cars are sticky, sporty tires. They wear fast because they're sticky, they're soft. You gotta be soft to be sticky, so they wear fast. Now, that's not a concern when you're trying to make a really good sports car, and it's not a concern about the type of wheel you're making. You wanna make a wheel on a sports car that funnels as much of the air that's passing it as possible to the brake to keep the brakes as cool as possible because you're doing some hard driving. Now, that's not the case when it comes to electric vehicles and hybrids. You want to cut through the air as much as possible. You don't want to funnel air into the wheel and cool down a brake. You want to cut through the air as much as possible. And that's why majority of electric vehicles and hybrids will have a flat face wheel design. At first glance, this looks like a typical Porsche wheel, a multi-spoke, very sporty, spider type of wheel from Porsche. But upon closer inspection, you'll see it only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the slots open. The rest are completely closed to give it that aerodynamic feel, squeeze a little bit more out of it. Now, it can't be fully closed because we still need some ventilation to the brakes. And again, this isn't your typical electric vehicle. It is a Porsche, and it drives like a Porsche. It handles like a Porsche, and it brakes like a Porsche. When we get to that front brake, you're gonna see one of the largest brakes in production in the world right now.
It does snap, it snaps very hard, and cars like, you know, the real supercars and stuff, like, you know, let's say 720Ss, 918s and stuff, you know, those cars are going to keep pulling above 100, 120. They're going to keep pulling like trains, where the electric cars kind of lose some steam. But that initial takeoff, that initial pull that Taycan Turbos have, it's brutal. With the gas engine, you have to have, you know, you press that gas pedal, it opens that throttle body in the front, pulls air in the front, sucks fuel from the back, combusts in a cylinder, and it kicks off, and then the power goes through the drivetrain to the rear tires. With an electric car, all of that is instant. It's like turning on a light switch. You know how you walk into a room and you turn on the switch and the lights are just available, it's just there. That's how the power on an electric car, especially a Taycan Turbo, is available to you.
So I want to point out a couple things about the front end design of this vehicle, which I think is super unique, unlike any other Porsche, unlike any other car, but also super traditional Porsche, complete Porsche character lines. Porsche has never run a headlight like this. As you guys know, a lot of Porsche's headlights are circles and ovals. They wanted to go outside of their comfort zone, I feel like, and make a headlight that's not traditional Porsche. So when you see it, you kind of know this one is different. However, at first glance, you already know it's a Porsche. Why do you know it's a Porsche? I'd say it's the slanted nose, slanted roof that goes all the way down here. I'd say it's the bulging fenders that go all the way higher than the hood. I'd say it's this big curve over here, and how it's just got that typical frog look that Porsche has, and it does such a good job doing it. How the headlight fits in this gap, and of course that's intentionally done. That inlet acts as a spoiler. It acts to spoil wind from this area out here, and then the wheel does its thing in diffusing the rest of it. So even though this was not meant to be a track car, it does such a phenomenal job driving like one.
You don't have gears, so no matter how hard the car's pulling, it's not shifting. So it's this like ongoing escalation of speed. It feels kind of weird. If you've driven a Tesla or any electric car, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's fast, and you just want that moment of relief and then pull again, and you don't get that at all. I know for a fact that Porsche isn't just giving it to you all at once. They have to be managing it somehow. If you did dump all that power in one shot, you're gonna get some wheel spin. You're not gonna get the most efficient launch and stuff. So I know they're managing the power and how it's outputting that power very, very well. And I'm glad they are. Also, the car is an all-wheel drive car. The rear-wheel drive of these vehicles are coming this summer, hopefully, and they're gonna drop the price of the car quite a bit. Porsche leases, they're a lot better right now on the Taycans, but typically not phenomenal. But it is an amazing car, and it's not a high volume car. It's not a high production car. You know, I think it's fair. The numbers on the car are fair. You do pay the Porsche tax a little bit, And that's what you do if you want to own a Porsche. They have no competition, basically. So the guys that are comparing the Taycan to a Tesla, if the fit and finish and the Porsche handling is not a thing for you, this might not be the right car for you, and it might be overpriced for you to consider. Wait for the two-wheel drive version, not the turbo version. You know, wait for a two-wheel drive to come out and you'll get a much better deal.
At first glance, you can't even tell there's a brake back there because it's sitting so close to the edge of the wheel. This thing is massive, and that's because of a couple of things. One, it's a Porsche. It is a sports car. It is a legitimate sports car. It's got everything that speaks Porsche besides, you know, the vroom vroom and the sounds. It handles, it drives like a dream. But because it's electric, it's packing a lot of weight. It is purely an electric vehicle. You gotta put a really big battery in an electric car. What does that do? That creates a lot of weight. Any car, weight is the #1 enemy. You have more weight, you need a bigger brake. You have bigger brakes, you have more rotational mass. You need a bigger caliper to handle that bigger rotational mass. So all of that works together. When you have such a powerful car with such a large battery, you're gonna need the braking power. Especially if you're a Porsche, you're not gonna give them just enough. You're gonna give them everything. The car could never feel like it's too heavy. The car can't feel like it has adequate brakes. It has to feel like these brakes are way too big for this vehicle. This thing stops on a dime. It really bites. If this isn't what you're saying when you're driving a Porsche, you ain't driving the right Porsche.
Once you jump into the Porsche Taycan, you're gonna feel, it definitely gives you a feeling. It's very futuristic looking. A lot of leather and glass looking surfaces. Majority of the glass looking surfaces are in fact polished plastics, but it's Porsche. They do an amazing job with fit and finish. Everything looks so natural in the vehicle. And once you turn it on, it'll all light up. Ooh, listen to it roar. And then we put it in drive. And now the car's in drive. And you're gonna see all the lights come on in the dash. The fit and finish is really in a league of its own when it comes to electric vehicles. Lots of touchscreens just like Tesla. We got one over here, we have one over here. There's this panel on the bottom half of this touchscreen that's just basically like a trackpad on a MacBook. And you could control the top menu from it. You could just reach over and touch the top menu, whatever's easier. But it's intuitive, it's extremely intuitive, and it's extremely fast. It's easy to use. Everything is right here at a glance, and it's always there when you're sitting in the car. And being an LA native, we have 95 degrees during the day, and it might be 65 degrees in the evening. So I like to be comfortable. We're LA heads. We all like to be comfortable. We're used to this bougie type of lifestyle. And I just want to be able to control all that right here. I don't want to go from menu to menu to menu, nor do I want a bunch of buttons for all the features. So if you're going to do touchscreen, take a note from Porsche and do it like they do. It's all Porsche. It looks like Porsche. It feels like a Porsche, but it's completely different than any other Porsche on the market. So that finishes our video on the Porsche Taycan. Please contact us, Porsche@studiomotors.com, if there's any interest in this car. And as always, subscribe, like, and share. I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's anything specific you want to see on the Taycan, let us know and we'll do our best to show you. Thanks.